Thank you for reminding me. We are now live. Closer to like 10:15. So it is Quant, or no, it's Landry versus Klaus, I believe, for the chip. Yep. I mean, both of them are dead even. Both have 5 races. Okay. What the fuck are you doing here if you're third in standings? Okay. Okay, fair enough. Please do. That would make things a lot easier for me. Chat, you didn't hear me. Shh. And if you think you heard me in the intro, no, you didn't. Season finale of the 24th season of the North American Sim Racing Series. We head on to Silverstone to crown a champion. How are you? Jackson Lambros in the broadcast booth, joined by another new face. My time in this season has been limited, but we've made a lot of new friends in the booth along the way. It's another guy I've had the honor to call here. A great comeback drive in the finale a couple months ago in season 22. It's Sid Murphy. Nitin, obviously weird for us to see you here in the booth instead of behind the wheel of the Lexus for the finale, although I know you've been public about your complaints here, but your thoughts for this very spicy championship battle that is brewing here for the finale.
Hey, Jackson. Hey, chat. Yeah, for sure. This is going to be an interesting one. It's a very close battle for P1. I think there's a bit of a drop-off afterwards for P3. It's going to be interesting for P4, too. There's still mathematically possible, I think, for someone to get that. But yeah, I mean...
Apologies there for any cuts you might have had as I am on free Denny's Wi-Fi. Michael Quant. The more you make the same mistake, man. Michael Quant in the Ferrari 296 in the 16. Going to be the first one to be on the board here. As I don't want to say he's surprised us with his pace throughout this season, but it's always good to see one of the brothers, Quant, at the front end of the field. Had some very, very strong pace, but bad luck hit him at Bathurst. He's been very, very strong in House of Practice and in our happy hour practice here just before we went on for qualifying. In early predictions here for who we think fastest is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Also, looks like it's going to be a dry one. Of course, Landry and Klaus have been the standouts of the field. Really, really strong pace. So they're probably the obvious candidates, one would say. But we've also got some people who might make a difference today. As you said, Michael Quant has been rapid. Also, we've got the likes of Ortiz, Slater, Zach Leclerc, who are always in the mix. Of course, not to miss if I missed out someone, it's not intentional. That's just what came out the top of my head. But yeah, it's going to be a spicy one for sure. We'll see.
So it is an all dry qualifying. That's not too much of a shocker if you know the way that this works sometimes. Our finale, almost always random conditions. So the 21 drivers came into this finale prepared with a dry or wet setup for qualifying. And once we get to the actual race itself, we kind of throw it all up to randomness. It could be dry, it could be wet. Conditions could be very much back and forth. We've seen it go either way. Entirely dry races as the finale, some fully monsoon-like conditions for the finale. Very much goes back and forth.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's usually the Tuesday ones who get like the trickiest conditions. Just
Yeah.
test them out. And somehow their luck always favors the rookies for this one. They get the nice, the mildest possible one you can get. Not salty at all. Just curious.
First flying laps underway here with just under 14 minutes on the clock. It's Joel Klaus fastest. 0.3 back, it is Michael Landry. And Rob Rogerio with some major pace to open up. Leapfrogs Michael Quant and Zach Leclerc. Strong running so far. Here is another improvement for Michael Landry, a 1:59.295. That's over half a second up from the competition as Brian Slater puts a good lap in for P5 and then goes in immediately.
Yeah, that definitely looked like a one hot lap, come back in, and then sort of assess what changes you need to make. Klaus also really, really close now, matching almost just 300ths off.
Dead
so
even.
So we're definitely going to see some faster laps come through as the track sort of evolves and goes closer to that optimum track that everyone loves.
Landry faster in the first and second sectors. Klaus has the pace in the middle sector. I'm looking for someone who is willing to show us the way around the home of British motorsports. How about we go on board a British car with Zach Leclerc in brand new C&C colors this weekend? He's going to give us a lap here around Silverstone.
Yeah, love that livery, by the way. It's a very new look. So coming through Cops Corner, taking it quite easy on this one. And now we come through to the fast section of Maggotts and Beckett's. Nice, confident turn in. A little wide on exit, but makes it work. And then coming through Chapel, and we go for the run down the Hanger Straight all the way to Stowe. Nice, fast straight. The car is hitting close to 250 kph or a little over 150 miles per hour, and hard brake and full commitment into Stowe. Wow, that's a fast corner, and just riding the curb just right on the exit, and coming into hard brake for the whale chicane, and left, not hitting that sausage, getting just right amount of curb on the right. Good exit and get the power down as soon as possible to go down the Hamilton Straight where the F1 start finish line is. And then we come into the fast right-hander of Abbey, slight lift, and that McLaren really showing us the downforce that it can produce. And then coming fast left into the next few corners. Carrying a little bit of speed into there, and then nice brake. You want to hit that apex later than you think, and that's a good exit. Coming down down to the Wellington Straight, and we'll be heading into Brooklands and Luffield. Again, brake nice and late. You want to cut this part as much as you can, set yourself up nicely for Luffield, and slow right-hander. Just wait, get on the throttle now, and getting right onto the exit curb, right up to the line, and that's a good lap.
It'll be good enough if he can hold it to at least leapfrog Mitch Lush, who gets up into third. Not enough. Had some really good pace, but as you saw, Nitin got just a little bit too wide there going through Woodcut, as now Mitch Lush coming back to the line. That's time gained. Joel Klaus working through the club chicane. Could be the lap to dethrone Landry right now. It's good enough pace provisionally for pole position if he can hold it.
Yeah, and Joel with the fastest middle sector. It's actually going for the time.
Landry, Klaus, Lush, Rogerio, and Zach Baclair, who we just rode on board with, your top five. Then it's Edriel Lugo Ortiz, Dakota Botello, Michael Quant, Don Debian, and Davin Sturdivant. Honda pace, as proven by Carter Hayne in the wet, is being unraveled in the dry right now by Mitch Lush. All eyes right now on the Canadian Joel Klaus as he pivots that Huracan through the village section and on the run down Wellington Straight.
Yeah, this looks like a decent lap. Up by a 10th, if my timing is correct here.
He's dancing in and out of the Delta right now. Regardless of where he comes when he gets to the line, it is going to be very close. Less than a 10th if he's able to hold it, cutting so much. I don't know if that's a valid lap.
Oh, no, it is.
It is, and it's half a 10th right now, separating the front of the field. Absolute knife edge driving and knife edge gap. Same can be said here in the second row as Rogerio comes to the line. Good enough for second. Or good enough for third, excuse me. Leapfrogs Mitch Lush down into fourth. And he will have a chance to improve. So too will Don Debian. Comes across the F1 start-finish line. Currently over half a second off. Three Ferraris in the top 10. Lugo Ortiz, Quant, and Botello. Three McLarens as well. Then it's a pair of BMWs, a lone Honda, and a lone Huracan. The top BMW has found a lot of pace out of nowhere. Michael Landry, half a second of improvement, gets it into the 158s. It's not alien pace, it's interdimensional right now for Michael Landry.
Wow. And on a fast track, that's a really good lap. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the field responds. I'm sure we're going to see some more laps come in. But also, we're getting rain. I don't know if that'll hit in time for the end of quali, but it's going to be close.
Watch that. Yep. Watch that condition timer in the top right of your screen. Clear for now. Rain on the way here in the next 10 minutes. And again, we don't know if that will be the minute it's 10 from now or whether, there's a slow build to that. So now it's a heightened sense of urgency from all of these guys to get dry laps in while they can. It's a 1:59.010 from Joel Klaus. Big improvement, still not enough to snatch pole from Landry. And we told you it was going to be knife edge for the championship. It's the exact same right now in qualifying.
That's unfortunate with the traffic. That's definitely not a great place to catch someone on a hot lap. So Klaus will probably just have to back off and reset because, you can't overtake hot lap cars.
Dakota Botello leapfrogs Lush and Quant. As now we do have I almost said two Deans, two Lucius in the top 10. Twin brothers Mitch and Dean. And make that two Huracans in the sharp end of this field for the time being. I feel like I'm able to detect now how much people are trail braking with just how quickly that rear end pivots, how much air it gets at the apex, and how much you're kind of using that weight transfer to carry it over. A lot of nonverbals there.
Yeah, for sure. It's you kind of watch, especially the front engine cars. If you watch those, you'll see like just how much of a difference that makes. If you look at the trail braking, that's in those cars. It's a difference between making the apex and being like 5 meters wide.
Right.
So it's definitely because those cars really don't turn without it.
And that's where we talk about the importance of trail braking, of driving with your feet, as we say, and it's the front engine, more land yacht type vehicles that benefit the most from that. I think obviously the Ford Mustang. I mean, as a Lexus pilot, you know the importance of doing that, but it's just a very, very different style of driving between your Italian supercars, your German GT cars. I think that's what a lot of people at home might not fully realize.
Yeah, for sure. Just sort of how the weight is distributed around the car. They're all rear-wheel drive, so there's not a huge difference in that. But just the weight distribution, the way the aero works, is very, very different between each car. So even though they're sort of similar in pace, and seem like just your average road car to drive, they are in fact the nuances involved in getting each one up to speed are very, very different.
Here comes Mitch Luge in the 32, gets to the line, goes third quickest, knocks Dakota Botello out of row number 5. And just a tenth of a second now separating himself and Rogerio for row 2. Over to Joel Klaus, coming out of club corner down Hamilton straight. He's up on time right now, but it's not enough to snatch pole.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go. They've got to get a move on now. It does appear that Klaus is now not in any major traffic, so he'll have a nice free track to set a good lap in.
But it's a time bomb mentality because, as we mentioned, rain is coming. We know that in the top right of our screen. It's just we don't know when it's actually going to burst, if it will all come at once here at the throw of the checkered, or if it's going to drizzle, work its way in. But the moment we see water on track, that's basically your checkered before the timer hits 0. You know you're not going to get a lap quicker than what you had maybe 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Once that track starts getting wet...
close! Won't be enough. And that...
No.
I don't know if he'll have enough time to do another lap right now. We'll see if he'll go for it.
Give it a try.
He's getting off the jacks and trying to reset. This is going to be close.
Close. Yeah, he'll be running in there for sure.
Rogerio trying to swing back at Mitch Luge. That's Adriel Lugo Ortiz behind in that blue striped Ferrari 296. As trouble for Michael Landry, I believe.
Oh, it's the rain. The rain's hitting.
Here it is. And that is essentially your checkered flag. Delta's about to go south big time. Michael Quant is absolutely the biggest loser for this as he works his way through the club chicane. Was nearly half a second up on his last best lap. And he will have to kiss that goodbye. This is essentially your field for the race.
Yeah, tough luck if you weren't able to get a representative lap in. It's going to be a bit of a climb up to the field. But luckily, you are at a track where, the qualifying position can be somewhat negated with good racing and good strategy.
Carter Haynes, the one that's probably going to be kicking himself the most at this, I reckon. Not necessarily bad driving, but bad luck. We know how fast he is in the rain. And this combo with this driver in this Honda NSX has been special in wet conditions. We've seen it at Valencia. We've seen it at Laguna Seca. In these dynamic conditions, he has been superb.
Oh yeah, for sure. Very quick behind the wheel, very clever, very smart with battles. But he's going to have an uphill battle coming up now.
Checkered flag just 10 seconds away. And I don't think there will be a car on track. Dakota Patello having commitment issues right now. Now toes back. And that will put us in the hands of Hans Montez, and even that will not be enough. So the field is set. Our two championship contenders, Michael Landry and Joel Klaus, alongside each other on the front row to send off season 24. Expect anything different? It's 1 hour of action from Silverstone when we get back. Stay with us.
station. And as you can see, there is a lot of flow on the outside of the circuit with some incredible sectors. Sector 1, wonderful twist halfway through Magnus and Beckett, down on the long Magnus straight, and then you go to sector 2, down into Vale, around the club, lots of drivers get it wrong, and then down Wellington straight to get into the light blue final sector, or get into Brooklands, Luffield and Woodcote Sweep to end it all. Packed down on the grid, as you can imagine, a lot of people taking a look at all the cars and glory. But let's go down and join John Watson with pole sitter Mathieu Massimia. A fabulous time, but there's that question mark over the 76.
Mathieu, all I can say is a truly stunning qualifying lap.
I think we had a great car this morning. My teammate did also so that is a great ball, so we are really happy and looking forward to visit that race.
Well, that's another story that'll be sorted out once the race is over. But you've got, unbelievable advantage over most of the field. The 88 Mercedes beside you, those are going to be a big threat.
Yeah, see where we'll be in the race with the tire management and everything. So looking forward to it. For the moment, everything looks great. So we'll see the reverse and how far or where.
That kind of race is already a difficult afternoon. Thank you.
So Mathieu keeping it fairly buttoned up there, but I tell you, his teammates were massively impressed with his time in whatever the car. Apparently got out of his way. But John Harris particularly happy very much being the Italian car when we started playing Italian racing.
Would like to remind you that the fun does not end for NASRS at the throw of the checkered flag. Off-season racing all throughout the summer for the schedule and links to the simracing.gp registration. Visit the NASRS Discord. Link is in the description. Here's the starting grid for the final round. It'll be Hans Montez in 20th. Stephen Parchment is in 19th. Parker Thomas in P18. Gabe Devier in 17th. Keith Bull, P16. Christian Rosa, in 16th. Jesse Beclair is in P14. Brian Slater, 13th. Carter Hayne is 12th. Dean Lusch is in 11th, with Grayson Head at the start of the top 10. Davin Sturdivant is 9th. Don Debian is in 8th. Edriel Lugo-Ortiz is 7th. Zach Beauclair outside of row 3. He'll be alongside Dakota Botello. Row 2 on the outside is Rob Rogerio. He'll be alongside Mitch Lusch, who returns. On the front row, Joel Klaus, separated by less than a quarter of a second with Michael Landry. So glad you could join us here on this Tuesday night. It is Jackson Lambros alongside Nitin Murthy here to crown a champion in season 24. Nitin, if we take a look at the top right of our timing here, it's getting spicy with weather.
Oh yes, this is going to be an interesting strategy call now. So we'll see who's sort of decided to go for wets. You start on wets and sort of go to red up until the halfway mark. Or do you start on dries and pray that the track dries up fast enough for you to be competitive? It's going to be an interesting call.
Track right now is greasy, so we're kind of at that point right now where maybe it doesn't justify making that move over to slicks, or over from slicks to wets, I should say. But we know that it's going to be pouring a lot more here in 10 minutes time. So I think just what people have picked here for the start of the race also is going to be very, very interesting. I wish I was able to tell you guys at home what tire compound people have elected for. But it feels like right now for conditions, slick is the tire of choice absolutely for the start. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at sort of how long, or sort of the long game, slicks might make sense. On the other hand, we're going to have a lot of rain. The track's definitely going to get a lot wetter. So you're going to be struggling for the time the track is wet, and depending on how long it takes to dry up. So I would actually err on the side of the wets at this point. They can take a bit of abuse even in the drier conditions. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
let's say this then, because we probably have people starting on wets, and that's probably the right choice with how much the track is going to dampen up here. It's hard for me to ask strategy. I always ask someone in the booth what they like for strategy, but more than likely throw that out the window. Start on wets, go to dries at halfway, and hope that you're going to be able to make it and rain doesn't come back.
Yeah, for sure. That's, I think, as it stands. And of course, everyone will be evaluating their strategy, just keeping one eye peeled on that weather indicator as we are going to go too wide here and get buttoned right now. And for now, at least, people focus on the start.
Joel Klaus has the championship lead, but not by much. And Michael Landry, if he finishes at the front of the field, he's going to need Joel Klaus to finish a couple of spots back. It is a championship battle between two Canadians that has gone down to the absolute wire. Who will end season 24 out on top for the final time? Let's find out, and let's go racing here at Silverstone. A great launch from the outside of Joel Klaus. Catches Michael Landry slipping a little bit here and will lead going into turn number 1. Further back, a little bit of a bobble from Dakota Botello with major issues at the apex speed as Davin Sturdivant has to lift and let Dakota Botello, that's Zach Baclair, go through. Everybody single file as we work down to the village section, and of course my Wi-Fi craps out.
Oh, no.
So it is Joel Klaus who still leads over Michael Landry, and this is interesting now as the time starts to finally tick through. It'll be heavy rain for now, but it looks like over the next 10 minutes or so, it's actually going to slow down as the track just now finally gets into wet conditions.
Yeah, and we're already seeing a few of the guys that started on slicks really struggle for pace. This is going to be just their first part of the stint. It's going to be a little pain.
Rob Gregario trying to take some positions early as we've got trouble for Keith Bull working out of turn number 1. And I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Let's see if we can get a replay. Coming out. This is going to tell us a lot. I feel like it maybe just be I think it might just be a little bit too much curb here. Coming out of turn number 1. He's giving chase. Already washes up. And around he goes.
Pretty slippery in the way.
Manages to gather it back up and will resume in 19th.
Lugo Ortiz and Sturdivant for battling. Gonna be interesting.
Let's go take a look right now as it's a 3-car freight train right now. Davin Sturdivant, good run further back from Grayson Head. Has no real estate to put that hard-charging Mercedes anywhere. Now looks to the inside as we head into the village section. Gets a little bit of a bump, has a look to the inside. And it is gutsy and ambitious, but can get it done. Here's the question, can Lugo Ortiz hold it? No. As now Brian Slater looks for a lunge on the inside. Script flips coming out of the village section, still side by side. There's contact. Lugo Ortiz goes around. And just a little bit of contact in these icy conditions is all that it took. Davin Sturdivant gets all the way to the bumper now of Rob Gregario. Big wiggle for Dakota Botello, who balances out the McLaren. And now it'll be another position opportunity for Grayson Head. Looks to the inside here. Across the stripe, Dakota holds him off and is able to carry that momentum out of Woodcote. Here he comes again through Copse and is able to get it done for now. Still side by side as we head into Maggots. One of them is going to have to give. It's a 150-mile-an-hour game of chicken. And Dakota Botello reluctantly backs out and gives 5th place to Grayson Head. Great driving right now and a hard charging start at the beginning of this race for the Mercedes driver. Further up, it's Mitch Lusch versus Davin Sturdivant. He turns up the wick. He'll go to the inside and take that position by the end here, going into, I believe this is Stowe.
Yeah, and there you can see sort of the difference between the slicks and the wets in these conditions. Just absolutely no grip on the slicks. And the wet runners, at least for now, have a massive advantage. The question is, how quickly can they get the fast and how quickly can they get a gap going so that by the time the crossover comes in, they have bumper space to fit.
So they only have to hold off for another 10 minutes or so. We're seeing the advantage right now, absolutely, from Grayson Head, who now lunges it to the inside at the end of Hamilton Straight as we work into Abbey and through Farm. All the way to the outside now goes Grayson Head and gets himself up into 4th. Great moves at the hole shot as Mitch Lusch is thrown to yet even more wolves.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough feeling in the cockpit there for Mitch. There's definitely bound to be some frustration, not being able to use the base of the car and just kind of hang on. But it's a long race. There's still 58 minutes to go. I'm sure they'll have a chance to come back in.
How's this for side-by-side racing? Mitch Lusch is around. Made contact with, I believe it was Gregario. Might have been Brian Slater, actually. As we take a look at this battle from the start of entry as we work our way onto the straight. Very interesting.
Just that contact. Yeah, the contact, sort of unsettled both cars, but Luke obviously on the slicks will have less grip to sort of recover from that. That's just unfortunate.
So Mitch, who actually got into the door of it was Brian Slater in P6, was the one who went around in not a pit maneuver kind of fashion. I'm not going to say that's interesting, Kuno's physics choices, because we've seen accidents like that happen in real life. So Mitch Lusch continues to slug it out right now. Has lost 5 positions in the past couple of laps. And Dakota Botello loses another as Rosa sails on through in the factory-colored McLaren.
Oh, and I'm looking at the top right corner. We're going to get rain again.
Oh, Joel Klaus around!
No. Oh, no.
Little bit of a bobble there. Yellow flag came out for him. I believe it was heading into the loop. This is after Farm. Oh my goodness. Got off to a good lead and hands the front of the field with that mistake back over to Michael Landry. As, yes, it does look like Nitin. More rain on the menu, 30 minutes out. And the existential crisis of tire selection continues here.
Yeah, so now that really puts you in a pickle, doesn't it? So, what do you do now? Do you take the gamble? Do you just say that there's going to be more rain, the track's not really going to go dry, and just sort of give up the fight? and get onto the wets and hope they last till the end, or do you hang on?
Again, that's the big mystery, because it could stop raining right now and be wet, or track could dry up for the next 20 minutes. Do you go and potentially roll the dice and maximize on that?
Yeah. It's a sort of, you don't want to jump out of the queue you're already on, because you always wind up with the worst deals every time you jump the queue and change your plans too much. But also, there's at some point you have to concede defeat, or you're just losing too much pace.
Rosa trying to get around Rob Gregario, couldn't get it done through Maggots and Beckett's. Got a good exit on Chapel. Will look to the inside on the run into Stowe. That BMW actually able to take off and put a decent-sized gap there on the back straight. Looks to the outside, now gets back in line as we head into Club Chicane. Further up the field right now, Davin Sturdivant holds off Grayson Head. Then it's a three-car freight train for 11th back, as Carter Hain currently fends off Edriel Lugo-Ortiz, who recovers, and his battle buddy from the start of this race, Gabe Devier. As, of course, the minute I look away from the Rob Gregario battle, Rosa works his way through.
So, just aside, I was watching class after that incident, and he is running with no traction control right now.
What?
In the rain. That is, yes. Serious. I'm being serious right now. That is.
Is there
absolutely
any reason you would do that unless you've got the confidence in your driving style to fight God? As Landry goes very wide there.
Yeah, so most of the cars really, if you can drive it with traction control off, and ACC at least, that's the fastest way to drive it. It's obviously not how you do it in real life, but this is the game, and people will always find the most efficient tactic, or the fastest tactic. So yeah, you would want to run the TC off in these cars, otherwise they're considerably slower, just with the TC cutting in. So, I mean, if you can handle it, sure, but I mean, mad respect to Joel for doing that in the wet.
First stop of the day is Rob Gregario, and I believe this might be a move over from wets to dries? I'm not entirely sure what the move was there.
He's dropped quite a lot of time.
But now if he makes the switch over to slicks, that is going to be a miserable time here in what is potentially going to be, a dry 20, 15 minutes.
Surely not. I'm dead positive that has to be a move to the wets. It does appear he has gone to the wets. But, yeah. I mean, you're not going to get enough of an advantage out of the slicks at this point.
So someone we really haven't talked about that much this race, we saw a little bit of moves earlier on. It's Davin Sturdivant, who has, I want to say, gained at least 5 or so positions here at the start. Both him and Grayson Head have been charging incredibly hard, and that becomes our battle for the podium now, 10 minutes in. Parker Thomas now coming into the pit lane as well, it would appear. So 2 takers right now, 3 takers, excuse me, as Dean Lusch came in as well. So 3 takers so far, as it looks like the rain is starting to die down just a smidgen here, Nitin. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, we're definitely getting lighter and lighter rain. There's going to be a dry spell in the middle, but we'll see. With 20 cars on the track, I'm actually not sure how fast it's going to dry. But it is certainly going to be interesting few minutes as guys who started on wets try to hold out. Ideally, you would want to have enough fuel to make it to the next shower. So when that shower turns up, you just hold on the rest of the wets.
Right.
And get rid of the smoke marks that you have. Another thing I want to point out, Dean Lusch started in the pits, and he's just 6 seconds behind Ruggiero apparently the lead is always quite pissed off. That's interesting. Not really sure how that works, but I mean, go Dean, I guess.
If he can pull off the 50-minute stint, that will be very, very impressive in the Prius Repellent Huracan. We certainly know he has the pace. He was one of the faster gentlemen in the qualifying session. I'll say this. That was definitely probably a trip to the pits for choosing the wrong setup before the start of the race. But still absolutely able to recover, especially if he's able to play the long game. Joel Klaus keeps Michael Landry humble with the lead right now, as it's been kind of going back and forth here between 3/4 and half a second as the gap, as Grayson Head a little bit further back tries to chip away at Davin Sturdivant for the podium. Back over to Carson Haid, holding off a hard charging Adriel Lugo Ortiz. Two guys that have battled one another for numerous seasons now. And if Nitin Murthy wasn't joining me in the booth right now, reckon we would see him right in one of these battles as well.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, but I don't know. It's a difficult car to drive here. I don't know how much further up I'd be compared to usual.
Oh, Christian Rosa.
Yeah, that's just, I think, iffy internet connection.
Best imitation of my Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Wonder if about Danny where he is.
More than likely, a little bit of a look to the inside here from Joel Klaus, as now 1/3 of a second separates P1 and 2 into club. And Joel is significantly gaining ground there on the brakes, as we've got more trouble for Keith Bull, who ends up around in Wellington. You think Joel's raw dogging brakes right now too? No ABS?
Oh no, you can't do no ABS.
Okay.
I'm sure if that was a meta, people would be doing it, but as of right now it isn't. I think Keith Bull is still on the slicks, unless who knows who's doing who knows thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd hold on to this much longer. Anyway, we Joel can get close, but not quite enough. Of course, in the wets, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder to do a pass, but we'll see.
Wipers are not moving anymore. That is telling us that the rain has stopped altogether. How long is it going to be dry? Will it be enough to justify a move back over to the slicks? And is this dynamic kind of moment on the track the prime time for Joel Klaus to strike? He's the fastest man on track right now, and he's got a good run here as they work their way into Maggots and Beckett's. It's a defense to the middle of the track from Michael Landry, side by side in a place you really don't see it normally. Forces Joel Klaus to back out. He had ambition, but he is holding just a little bit of reservation. He knows he has the championship lead, and he doesn't want to throw it away on a dumb mistake in a battle like this.
Yeah, definitely thinking of survival there. Joel wisely backs out of it. But maybe do we see? I don't think we will. But I mean, that would be something. And Arjun in the chat has actually pointed out, you know, hear me out.
Oh,
Joel
man.
and Michael crash out and Gavin wins. That would be something.
I'll say this, if anyone in chat can do their homework and tell me the last time Davin Sturdivant has won a NASRS race, and then we can all be mad and say rigged in chat, please let me know. I am genuinely curious. Carter Hayne advances now up into 10th through pit cycles, but with 20 cars on track, drying this circuit out, you've got to ask if people are questioning. I don't know. Maybe I do come in and go for a short stint here on the dries. I'm not entirely sure. This is going to be very, very interesting on the front of the field, though.
Yeah, definitely. Joel's definitely got the pace advantage. He is keeping Landry honest. Landry's doing a great job positioning his car, though, just not letting Joel get a sniff. And really, you know, you see that early defensive move just telling him, back off, buddy.
Goes wide. Oh, the commentator curse as Landry ends up going wide. You're one of us, Nitin. Hugs the inside now in the long right-hander of Lovefield, and somehow, some way is able to hold off Joel Klaus for another lap. But Joel with good momentum here as we complete lap number 8.
Oh man, that was... I don't know how Landry managed to do that. That was impressive. But we're gonna get another round 2.
Same part of track as Klaus tried it last lap. Will he be far enough? Will he be brave enough to try it again? And once again, as we head through Maggots, he does back out. Big shot across the bow there for Michael Landry.
Yeah, this is getting real intense now. I'm sure there's gonna be some frustration coming from Joel. You know, he's had enough laps to study every inch of that BMW bumper, and he'll be looking to get past soon.
Klaus has held his line significantly going down the straights. So far, that seemed like the first time he's actually followed the serpentine move of Landry to kind of try and break that draft. As, again, just Landry making that M4 as thick as possible to keep that lead. We'll keep this fight on your guys' screens for now, but it is Sturdivant still in second. Still very, very close to Gavin or Grayson Head, about a second separating them. Grayson, I'm so sorry. Further back, Carter Hayne continues to fend off Adriel Lugo Ortiz. That is neck and neck right now, as it's about a 2-3 car freight train with them. Everybody else kind of diluted for the time being. Brian Slater still very fast right now. He's fastest in the middle sector, with Joel Klaus with the purple lap overall. Fastest in sector 1 and 2. Or 1 and 3, excuse me.
As we are seeing, the track is kind of coming closer to the track condition.
Ooh, here we go. In goes Landry. So open air once again for Joel Klaus as Michael Landry throws in the towel. Look at what we see, though, in the top right of our screen. If we do have rain, it's going to be a pretty small spot of it, so it'll be relatively dry conditions here for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, and I'm sure Michael has seen that shift and being like, all right, now the strategy has shifted back once again to favor the slicks. So if you can just hang on through that rain shower, you should be fine and dandy. Again, like, just variable weather, it throws up just so much chaos. It's quite the thrill trying to figure that out while you're sitting in the cockpit.
No takers in the Sturdivant head battle, as Brian Slater, at the pace he is going, is pretty quickly going to make this a triplet of GT3 machinery. Christian Rosa coming in alongside Parker Thomas. So the one stop, unless we have some real torrential stuff real quick, is looking to be very much a possibility for the guys that started on the wets. Coming into Club Chicane, and Grayson being very, very reserved. And this is where I would expect a good wave of cars to come in this time by as track conditions drop down to greasy.
Yes, and we are seeing a couple of cars in the pits, and I'm seeing one more. I think Ruggiero pits now for the second stop.
Ruggiero comes in.
I'm sure, yes. You're right, Jackson. We will definitely see more cars come in now that the track conditions are much clearer in the rest of the race.
So again, with the little peak we've gotten at the forecast, the track will have a little bit more water on it. Big moment of oversteer there from Grayson Head, who gathers it back up. We know that the rain is coming, but it's going to be just a spot, not enough to really justify going back over to the wets and sacrificing that time to switch compounds. So it should be an earlier stop than anticipated for a couple here, and a switch back over. Joel Klaus now coming in, as nearly everybody coming in. Sturdivant, Grayson Head, Brian Slater stays out one more. This is going to be interesting, and this is going to be the blend for the lead. Where is Michael Landry in this equation right now? He's ahead of Zach Leclerc, behind Mitch Lush, and working out of Luffield right now.
Yeah, this is going to be close. I think Klaus is still in his box. He's not moved yet. But this could be big. This could give a huge gap.
Landry already crossed the stripe.
Klaus
Klaus's
just
box
picked up the
all the way back. There goes Klaus, just exiting the pits right now. He'll watch Landry retake this lead.
So this is going to be interesting. Who's got the pace on the drier tires? I don't think we've seen the end of this battle yet. There's a long way to go.
Great execution from both Grayson Head and Davin Sturdivant, as both of them will resume their battle as well. So Brian Slater will have time led under his belt. Dakota Patello in second, Mitch Lush in third. All three of them having to come in to serve their stops. I don't think there's been anyone that's stayed out on the dries now, and finally, 20 minutes into this race, getting some dry laps run. So
It would be interesting. I think if you look at Keith Bull, he's I think the one person who has stayed out, and he is lapping faster than his personal best. But I don't know, is that too little, too late, or is he planning to go long and sort of try and salvage something from this? It's going to be interesting.
We're going to have to see. Maybe he comes in right at the... I mean, he'd have to stretch it maybe like all the way to the end of the pit window to really make that viable. And even at that point, you've got big losses in performance to really justify that. With the track drying out, we have the lap times going down. Dakota Patello, fastest on track right now, doing a 2:06.1 even. Fastest Sector 1 goes to Joel Klaus. Sector 2 to Dakota. And now with another lap improvement goes down to a 2:04. We've got problem Landry all around. Oh my goodness. What's happened to our championship contender?
Oh, does he brake a little too wide? That would be incredibly harsh.
This is into Brooklands.
Let me see him.
Oh,
it's just a
my
bit too wide on that
goodness!
green paint. Yeah, that paint will get you. And a little bump to the bumper. That shouldn't be too much damage, but I mean, I think the damage is done more the lap times. at this point.
It'll take a Christmas miracle for him to kind of stay in contention at this point. But truly, anything can happen at this point. With weather, with weird stuff, with lap traffic. But the probability of taking this season 24 crown has absolutely swung in favor of Joel Klaus right now. Dakota Patello and Mitch Lush still out in front right now. And Joel Klaus, with zero competition behind for the time being, will hold on to the provisional lead.
Yeah, I think that's, like you say, as without a miracle, I think that's our championship more or less settled. But I mean, we still got the rain to come. We'll see how this one plays out. But I mean, that's not hard. Just a really unfortunate spin.
Let's see if we can find Michael Landry on track right now. Here he is in P9. So actually no positions really lost in the net here. Again, pretty much everyone still between him and Joel need to come in for their stops. But he's lost about 15 seconds right now. And will need to crawl back significantly to even be in conversation right now. Rain about 10 minutes away. That could be another little bit of a wild card here, but again, that'll be spotty. So the comeback drive for Michael Landry, something we're not necessarily used to because it feels like very rarely do we see a mistake from this guy, but we're going to have to see what he can do with his back against the wall here in both this race and this championship. As this battle continues, Adriel Lugo Ortiz versus Carter Hayne. ELO tucked all the way in here as we head into Stowe. Both these guys right behind Zach McClare in that kind of camo-colored, newly colored 720. As we'll ride on board with that McLaren to watch this battle.
Lugo Ortiz is definitely a slow driver, and keeping behind for this one shows some impressive pace. And also, it's going to be interesting to see where these guys go around. I believe these are the guys, they all start with slicks. I may be wrong. So they effectively have a chance to, if they can survive the second shower, just come in and get a fresh set of slicks. Or maybe even crazier, just take the set of slicks all the way to the end. This is an interesting
Big lunge there from Adriel Lugo Ortiz going into Village, forced both of these guys to miss their apex with Hayne defending, and that's allowed Zach to give a little bit of a bigger gap here between these two, but with both of them in the slipstream of the McLaren, that's kind of gathered back up. Mitch Lush finally coming in for his pit stop, as now Carter Hayne with a good run has broken away from ELO, might have a shot on Zach McClare, will lift off and let him live for another day.
I think we've seen enough moves with the cops that just don't work out. It's not worth the risk.
Officially halfway home here at Silverstone. What you got, Nin?
Oh, no, nothing. I was just saying Lugo Ortiz has got another run. But
Yes,
I don't know if that's gonna...
it looks like he does as they head towards the club chicane once again into Stowe, where we saw this move earlier on. Oh, getting racy here. Bit of a flick to the inside, but gathers it back up. Here comes Gabe Duvier. Further back there, that orange Aston Martin about to make this a 4-car queue. And watch that gap between Michael Landry and the leader. He just cleared Jesse Beclaire, and will have some open track in front of him before he gets to this big freight train on the outside. Here comes Lugo Ortiz into Village. Will go the long way around, and that will become the inside going through this long left-hander. Textbook Stefan nuclear move as he takes P4 in the loop.
Oh, what a move. That was insane. The confidence is centered on the outside there.
As we ride on board for a replay here, it's a good run coming out of Abbey.
You can see him just sort of evaluating where the player is and just placing that car in that gap that's opened up. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant.
No stranger to seeing some aggression from Adriel Lugo Ortiz. He chipped away at Carter Hayne when he thought he was going to lead this three-way pack. Now he's got a chance to do it. Heading into Maggots and Beckett's. Here comes Carter Hayne once again with a good run in the NSX. Has to lift off. This is not a place where we can see two wide racing sustain itself, and all of these guys know it.
Yeah, and I've been watching this battle for a little bit now, and it's interesting. Lugo Ortiz is definitely faster through Maggots and Beckett's fast corners. Ferrari really working well through there. But Carter Hayne really gains it back on the straight, so it might be interesting if Lugo Ortiz has a moment or winds up battling. Carter Hayne still is very much in this fight with that straight line speed advantage.
Good run from Lugo Ortiz. Goes a little bit later on the brakes. He's been favoring the late apex through Club Chicane. That's how he kind of sets up this run going into Village. I think Zach is starting to realize that, and kind of go wider, kind of chop off his line. I could be looking into that way too hard right now. But Carter Hayne with another good run at a peek at the inside going into Village. And all of these three according together. Big wiggle there from Carter Hayne, who gathers it back up.
They're all just so on the knife edge. This is going to be really interesting. We've got a good 30 minutes ahead of us, folks.
No, absolutely. And Rain just 10 minutes away in not something that's going to warrant a compound change. But these guys are aggressively putting rubber back in the track right now. As you can see, our track condition there, it's gotten fast. And all of that rain is going to put that kind of back to ground zero as we have another good run for Adriel Lugo-Ortiz coming across the stripe now. Looks to the outside as they go by the line. We'll try the long way around. If he can make this stick, it's golden. But Beclair just has such an ideal line there through T1. This will open the door up to Carter Hayne. You got to be in front of him before you get to the S's.
Yeah, the outside line of golf is never going to work. Just the marbles and the lack of grip, especially with the track now sort of ramping up and having just recently rained. It's going to take a literal mechanical and aerodynamic miracle to be able to pass from the outside at golf. But he almost made it stick. I'll give him credit for the try.
I think this answers our question. These guys have to be on dries because the track doesn't have an ounce of water on it now. So these guys are able to really, really stretch it out. We never really went back on that strategy analysis, but these guys for sure slugged it out, and now they're very much feeling the benefits of it. And watch that gap between 7th and 6th, by the way, as Michael Landry starts to chip away at this 4-car freight train. Lugo-Ortiz with another really good run. Looks to the inside now, outside, going in to Hamilton. Carter Hayne tries to split it and make it 3 wide. A turn so big and a save so massive, the yellow flag was thrown out provisionally. Tokyo drifted it into Village. Here comes Lugo-Ortiz going into the loop. We'll try another late apex to use that as a launch pad. Coming into the straight, it's still not enough.
I don't know if chat heard that, but I actually just jumped back in my seat. Holy crap, that is amazing. How are they all still pointing in the right direction after that? This keeps going though. They're gonna go through Brooklyn's in the field. I don't know if Ortiz is looking for a move through here, but this is some mega racing.
Gabe Dovier absolutely at the table now in that Jägermeister colored Aston Martin, as now Carter Hayne throws in the towel. So too does Dakota Botello. This will hand the reins back over to Joel Klaus for the lead. And Michael Landry will gain more ground on the leader as well. Here comes Lugo-Ortiz going into Maggots. Gotta be frustrating for Lugo-Ortiz. You know he has the momentum, has the run. It's just unfortunately always seemingly into the place where you can't really put it anywhere.
Yeah, and like we saw with Carter, it's really just, right place at the right time. We followed him for so long and then eventually just found the right opportunity and just said, you know what, I'm throwing it here, I'm stronger, I can make it stick. As we see now, possibly a move coming into the chicane.
He has the inside line, he lunges. And I think there was maybe a little bit of fear he was gonna get into the bumper of Beclair. Actually went a little bit wider than normal so that they didn't go off of one another. Here comes the rain. Once again, here comes Lugo-Ortiz. Once again, gets bumper to bumper, but has to back out once more.
Yeah, now with the rain coming in, that throws another spanner into the works, doesn't it? So, what do you do now? Do you just fight this out, hope that your opponent makes a mistake and sort of gains position, or do you go into the pits and try to win the position using strategy? Oh, there's still so much to go. This is insane.
You've got to absolutely throw a bone to the drivers, not with the action on track right now, but the multitasking that these guys have to do right now with the weather, with the variable conditions, knowing how that impacts their strategy. You can see that finally getting through Lugo-Ortiz as he has a significant wiggle there coming out of Brooklands. Both of these guys still despite going wheel to wheel with one another seemingly, are holding off Gabe Duvier pretty well.
Yeah, and I was looking at the battle. If I was looking at that battle earlier from Duvier's point of view, I'd be licking my lips, knowing that, oh boy, these guys are getting at it. There's a position in this for me. But so far, I don't think that has transpired yet. But you know, he's still right there. He's still right there, just keeping these guys honest, reminding them that, hey, there's more to this race than just the two of us. We gotta be careful how we play this.
P4, Gabe Duvier has had the popcorn out for the past couple of laps right now, as it's gone back down to a duel right now for the podium. So we've seen some of the earliest scheduled pit stops of the season, and we now have some of the longest runs of the season, with some guys about to be on now 40-minute-old Pirelli P0s. Hans Montez doesn't want any more of it. He'll come into the box from 13th. And who is that in the back right now, coming into the rearview mirror of Gabe Duvier? It's nobody else but Michael Landry. So once again, this battle starts to get spicy as the hard-charging Michael Landry is back into the top 5.
Yeah, and if you're Duvier here, I mean, if you're thinking about it, it might actually be beneficial to just just look at Landry and go, you know what, this guy's faster. Let him get ahead. Let him create the chaos for me. So I don't know. We'll see what he thinks. But
into Brooklyn's Lugo Ortiz goes very wide there, as Montez merges back out P14. 4 cars still to pit. It's Zach Leclerc, Adriel Lugo Ortiz. And the minute I say that, he will throw in the towel and declare Zach victorious on track. This undercut might be greatly beneficial. Duvier follows suit.
and look out for Carter Hayne, because he's the one who pitted a couple of laps earlier. It'll be interesting to see where he peels out, where, you know, all these people end up. I mean, yeah.
Is
like
there
the point earlier you made?
Is there an automated thing on track right now? Because the worst thing ever would be your pit crew seeing water on the track and thinking, oh yeah, well, it's wet time.
No, I think you have to set that explicitly in your pit MFD or in your strategy in the setup screen. So even though if it's wet, they may sometimes not put dry tires on. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. So 3 very, very different battles here, or different strategies, shall I say, shaping up in the battle for the podium. Hayne went in incredibly early. Lugo Ortiz dead in the middle. And Zach Leclerc trying to play the long game. Great stop from both of these guys. Here comes Carter Hayne, who just now crosses the stripe. And it's a drive-through and a stop-go 30 for ELO and Gabe Duvier. Oh my goodness!
Oh no!
That's got to be for speeding in the pit lane, right, Nitin?
Yeah, definitely. I'm guessing there's just some tricky conditions coming into the pits because, you know, it's not part of the racing surface. It's going to be a little bit better. But I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. I'll have to go and look at the replay, see what happens. But, man, that sucks. You're having such a good battle there.
And in what was going to be, by the way, the optimal strategy for Lugo Ortiz as he stays out in front. Haynes splits the two of them. So just a drive-through for Lugo Ortiz, but a big moment there, clearly, for Gabe Duvier, who was carrying far too much speed into the pit box. And as you mentioned, it in a place where you don't have 20 cars running over it significantly, so water gathers up, rubber washes out, grip is very minimal in that part of the track, obviously.
Yeah, and as Leclerc goes into the pits, I just went back and had a look. It does appear that they sort of overestimated the grip and tried to speed up because, you know, they had sensed that the car is gripping up in the final part of the pit lane, but just got on the brakes a little bit too late. At least for Ortiz, it was not that big a deal. But yeah, I think Duvier kind of followed him by accident and just sort of forced a bit too much. That's a shame.
So with Carter Hayne in P11, Lugo Ortiz still having to stop. This is your battle for the podium now as Zach Beclaire will try and hold on to a top 10. As it is the old guard, Gavin Sturdivant, Brian Slater, and Grayson Head. This is P4 through 7 right now. Actually, as I say that, it's telling me Zach Beclaire is still potentially good. Now he comes out and will be in P7 for now. Mitch Lush still pretty far behind. So this is absolutely the battle for your podium right now with Gavin Sturdivant on the bottom step provisionally.
And crucially, Beauclair has come out ahead of Carter Hayne. And the gap hasn't really changed that much. And if Kunos is not lying to me here, he's on wet tires. So that's going to be interesting. Carter on the dries.
So Carter's, I don't think there's a single person on track right now on wet tires still, is there?
Yeah, Beauclair appears to be on wet, although that might be a bug. So I'll just hold out on it for now.
Okay, we'll have to see, and if so, that's unfortunately going to be a nightmare right now because those conditions are okay for now. But again, give it just a couple of laps and track's going to be drying up fairly quickly once again. Good run once again here from Grayson Head in the run into Brooklands, and Luffield fires it to the outside. And with Gavin Sturdivant, still holds the middle, makes a mad dash for the curbing on the long right-hander Luffield as he tries to guard that inside line here from Grayson Head and Brian Slater.
Yeah, and Davin is, of course, the master when it comes to car positioning. He knows how to frustrate the guy behind. Again, ask me how I know. But yeah, definitely giving Grayson the sort of, a little bit of giving Grayson something to think about before going for a move.
So 30 seconds right now separating Joel Klaus and Michael Landry, and I think it might be the slight damage that Landry had from that hiccup coming out of Luffield that's kind of kept him from having the fighting pace right now. As it is a 3-car battle all out right now between Sturdivant, Head, and Slater. Mitch Lush trying to join this conversation, but he's got a rear bumper full of Dakota Botello right now. One of the longtime rookies who has fairly recently graduated over to Tuesday nights as he tries to put the pressure right now on the top Honda.
Yeah, and Botello has really been rapid. That's the best way I can describe him. So quick. Even in rookies, it was just a surprise. And I found out that he has a good number of hours on Gran Turismo 7 before doing ACC.
Really?
Yeah. Some sim experience coming in, and definitely aced the rookies program, and one of the fastest graduates out there. So yeah, I'm excited to see where he goes in future seasons. But this has been a very, very strong debut.
Currently one of the fastest guys on track right now. One of the few guys under 2:10s on last lap. But we look at some of the fastest guys on track right now. Michael Landry, quickest in Sector 1. Klaus has the quickest in 2. And it's this man right here, Mitch Lush, quickest in the final sector. Overall purple lap still goes to Joel right now in the lead. As further back we watch this battle resume, Rogerio and Adriel Lugo Ortiz, of course, was bound to find someone else he could battle and throw some moves on. This is coming out of the loop, back through entry. As a little bit of a wiggle there on the exit for Rogerio. Are we going to see a move here from Lugo Ortiz? Maybe fires it to the outside, tries to go all the way around. If he can hold that line, it'll become the inside going through Luffield, and it will. And the position right now for Adriel Lugo Ortiz is not a proper representation of the Hollywood battle, the Hollywood drive he's given us, because some of the best moves on track right now, bar none, has been ELO.
Oh yeah, for sure. A driver with a lot of aggression, a lot of pace, but very clean. I had the pleasure of we didn't broadcast it last week. I think
We did not.
But I had the pleasure of 20 minutes of trying to hold off Elo for P4, and yeah, that was some of the most fun racing I've had all season. Really, really tough driver to keep behind.
And now it is Grayson Head trying to do the exact same thing. Fired it up the inside, and this could be one position potentially gained or one lost, as Davin's able to hog the inside. Here comes Brian Slater as they are side by side going down Wellington, and this could potentially be a position lost. Nearly contact there between the Ferrari and the Merc, as overdriving, big slide there from Grayson Head, who gathers it back up. It could be a 5-car battle very, very soon, as Luge has dragged Botello along into these 3.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing Davin's strategy pay off. He's slowly been backing these people up and hoping that the 2 cars behind can join in, and now they are within sniffing distance and sense a good battle for a podium position.
So that was our final little stint of rain on the track, and it will be wet running for the remainder of the race. So how quickly will those conditions go back from damp to greasy? And who's going to benefit the most from that? Now 37 seconds separating Klaus and Landry, but it is genuinely anyone's game here for the podium. A little bit of a look here from Botello to the outside of Lush. Now the inside going into Stowe. He gets that position in the run into Club Chicane. Great stuff from Dakota Botello to take P6. Oh, further back. Big move to the inside. Grayson Head. Woo-hoo, Code Brown there. I think he got a little bit late on the brakes there and just stomped on it just so he wouldn't get into anybody. And now he might lose another position as they work onto Hamilton. Here comes Botello looking to the inside, weaving and bobbing, trying to find any way to get that McLaren through. We'll try the outside going into Village. Will be the long way around, but he's done the over-under numerous times. He did it through Brooklands and Luffield, and now he'll get it into Village. Another position lost for the Mercedes of Grayson Head, but another fantastic position gained for Dakota Botello.
Oh my god, the racing, Silverstone never disappoints with the racing, man. It's so good. Even with my opinions of the track, I can't help it. It's such a good track. But I think we're also seeing the crossovers start to kick in. If I'm not mistaken, Grayson's on wet tires. Ooh, that's not ideal.
Tried the over-under there.
Yeah.
And it is not going to work. You can see how quickly Head washes up. There's a big Code Brown there.
Oh, wow.
And is able to gather it back up. But
I just felt that with every atom of my soul.
Well, as a former Mercedes pilot yourself, you know the limits of this car. Brian Slater has gone around.
Oh no!
What has happened here? Was it contact from Dakota Botello? It's so hard to tell from there as they came out of cops. It might have been just a smidge there, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait for the race control for stewarding to if that was a contact. But if that was, that just sucks. You know, it's a tough part of the track to get side by side on, and that was very ambitious from Botello.
One of the most impressive drives we have seen all night long has been from both of these guys. Davin Sturdivant has seemingly had everything thrown at him over the past 55 minutes and has not cracked one bit. And meanwhile, you look at what Dakota Botello has had to face on track. He's seemingly overtaken everything. So it is unstoppable force meets unmovable object here in the battle for the podium, with Mitch Lush waiting in the wings, trying to be the upset Zach Leclerc, by the way, was indeed on wet tires here for the second stop, which was ultimately the poor choice as he comes in. Here comes Dakota with a look to the outside, going down Wellington. Tried the turn in, but again, Davin says, I'm right there. You can't do it quite yet, Junior.
Yeah, I'm kind of wishing I had a stress ball watching this battle.
As it finally feels like the actual action on track has backed off. Things have kind of stopped blowing up, but it does feel like you've kind of lit a fuse on a way too old firework, and you just don't know when it goes off. We see a little bit of sparks coming out of it right now, though, as Botello has a cheeky look going through Maggots and Beckett's, but once again has to get back in line. Late apex going through Chapel. Tries to launch pad off of it. Do you feel like you get less dirty air when you're running behind a car that's the same as yours?
No, I don't think. I think it's more how sensitive. Oh, wait a minute. No.
Had a look to the outside,
So-
but wiggled.
Yeah, that's always going to be a tough pass to try and pull off. But, here question: the dirty air in ACC is not as bad as something like say F1, where it just basically makes it impossible to pass. But you do feel it differently in different cars, I think. At least this is my observation, that some of the more air-dependent cars are probably going to be a little more affected. But I mean, it's definitely not that big. It can be overcome if you have the sort of tire, if you have either a tire advantage or a pace advantage of any kind.
What's happened to Mitch Luce? There's been a mistake, and now he's 10 seconds off of these two. And in the blink of an eye, it is Grayson Head trying to crawl back into this battle. Further back, Luce actually looked like is holding off Brian Slater now, as both of those guys try to return. And a little bit further back from that, it is Carter Hayne holding off Christian Rosa. Another big wiggle there from, it looked like, Dakota Botello, as he had to gather it back up. Great stuff from all of the McLarens. 8.5 minutes to go here at Silverstone. It's Davin Sturdivant versus Dakota Botello, as the North American Sim Racing Series showrunner tries to hold off one of the up-and-comers. It's hard for me to say that because he does have a few seasons under his belt, but he's climbed the ladder like a couple of these guys, like the Quants, like Parker Thomas, and Montez in recent history. But this is proof of what time can reward you here in the North American Sim Racing Series. Good run from Botello. Looks to the outside, going into Stone. They touch! They managed to not go around, neither of them, but by throwing the door, it looks like he might have taken that spot on the podium. No, he somehow holds onto that position, and we've got trouble for Brian Slater. I got the wrong car, chat.
Yeah.
I just so got the wrong car, as I think that's because Slater has disconnected. There was an issue for Zach Leclerc, though. And Hans Montez goes on through.
But yeah, I mean, I think Botello over there just realized that he had kind of maybe pushed it a bit too far and sort of gave back the position. Mm-hmm. We'll see how they are right now. But yeah, that was there's some hard racing going on out there.
Big hello and thank you, by the way, to the Leclerc Brigade, as I have called them. Zach and Jesse's family, who is consistently tuned in pretty much every single time I've streamed with them on track. And I love the family support. Big dive from Botello to the outside. And we'll try that over-under move that he used to get Grayson. Still can't get it there. It's corner to corner, as Botello's able to hug the inside, but he can't really launch out of the exit of Luffield like he wanted to.
Yeah, and we can see sort of the difference in aggressive driving styles. Elo with the patient, controlled aggression, sort of, knowing where he's faster and using it at the right times. And Botello knows he's faster. He can definitely get past, but just being a little bit too impatient. And now that's dragging Grayson Head back into fight, which I'm sure Davin would love to see.
We're not about to see a move on the inside of Maggots and Beckett's, are we? Dakota Botello thought about it, but he lifted off once again. It's a stop-go, or not a stop-go, excuse me, added time penalty for Dakota Botello. Tested the track limits here just a little bit too much. That'll be tacked on at the throw of the checkered flag. And that pretty much drops him back into 7th right in front of Carter Hayne. Looks like Botello lost it a little bit there on the brakes. Has to cancel his plans of a dive bomb into Stowe. And now tries the outside into Club. Do we think it's frustration right now for Dak or anticipation? Oh, it's a stop-go. It's a 15 for Dakota. I thought it was for Grayson Head. No, Dakota Botello will lose this. Oh my goodness, Grayson Head will be the only one to potentially take this away then from Davin. As he follows all the way to the outside here going into Village, I'm sorry, and a very, very big move. Tries the over-under here through Village. He can't get there, but now Grayson might be able to pounce. He can't get there.
Grayson's being clever, just knowing that space might open up. But yeah, do you remember how we were wondering what happened between Botello and Slater? I think that was contact. Like I said, we would have to wait for race control to determine whether that was just Slater having a moment or the two of them coming together. I think it's the latter.
So it will be heartbreak for Dakota Botello, who has been such an underdog in this race. And unfortunately will have to settle for a top 10 finish instead of a potential spot on the podium. At worst, from where he is right now, a top 5. He'll still try and get by Davin Sturdivant here on the run into Maggots and Beckett's. Sturdivant still cool as ice. That penalty, by the way, thanks to Greg Cacciadorian in chat, as I'm seeing that, is between Botello and Slater.
Yeah, so that's the sort of thing we were wondering earlier, whether that was contact or the Slater losing it. Yeah, it's probably contact.
And even with all of that, the move for 3rd has been achieved. It's been on the outside here in Stowe. It was an attempt of a swing back there, as Sturdivant now has to go on attack for the first time. He cannot get there. So the current objective now for Davin Sturdivant is just stay within 15 seconds of Dakota and hold off Grayson Head.
Yeah. I mean, barring a massive jinx or something, I think Davin's probably got this. 15s. Oh no!
Grayson Head had a look to the inside into Village, and Davin, for the first time in a while, bought it. He throws the door to Grayson Head, and with a little bit of argy-bargy, still holds on provisionally to the podium. Let's get a replay of this battle. Very rarely do we see Davin Sturdivant crack, and a very, very rare mistake from Davin drives right up the racetrack.
Yeah, that's desperate.
And some morally ambiguous wheel here going on for the podium. I don't want to call it quite Verstappening from Davin there. Because he's not running dudes off the racetrack, but we know Davin is the kind of guy to sit on apexes to try and take air off a guy's wings.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, you're fighting for position, but, and that's obviously not intentional, like, a certain incident that happened a week ago, but, the stewards always say it, this is not F1, you can't just say, I made the apex first.
Right.
Unfortunately, I think that was probably a little too aggressive from Davin.
Here comes Mitch Lush once again. Was all the way bumper to bumper with Grayson. But lost some position once again here on the braking into Stowe. But now joins this conversation. 10 seconds separating Sturdivant and Dakota. It'll be the white flag this time by, as Davin Sturdivant tries to hold off two very, very eager drivers for the podium. Into Village once again, no takers into the first half, as Grayson is able to separate himself from Mitch as well. 48 seconds on the clock. It will be one more lap for Joel Klaus. Mitch looking to the outside now into Luffield. A big dive on the brakes there from Grayson Head, trying to get all the way to Davin. He can't get there.
Yeah, I think the only hope Davin now has is to back up Grayson and sort of hope that something happens between these two on the last lap, as we are going to go on that last lap with these three.
We'll have to check in later, as right now it is all eyes on Joel Klaus. We'll look over
5-second
for
penalty
now.
for Sturdivant, by the way.
Oh my goodness! So that will now throw him out of the podium contention as well for that morally ambiguous wheel moment. And that basically gives it to Grayson here.
Yeah.
Through Brooklands and Luffield for the final time, Joel Klaus has had everything thrown at him in his adversaries, but he has been picture perfect. For Season 24 of the North American Sim Racing Series, Joel Klaus is your champion.
Just another drive of domination. He looks at the traction control and laughs at it and just says, "What's this?" What a drive.
Mitch Luce tried a lunge coming to Hamilton to try and clear Grayson Head. It was not enough. And the podium pretty much will be as they lay on track right now. Jesse Beclaire, Adriel Lugo Ortiz, and Gabe Duvier taking the checkered flag now, as Dakota Botello, with his penalty, had the pace, but it'll be too little, too late. Will come home around 8th place as they lie. Same going for Rob Rogerio. As I say that, Mitch Luce has drawn himself into contention here for the podium, has the inside line by half a car, but Grayson Head will be able to end Season 24 with a podium finish. Everything thrown at him, and the driver of the number 3 Mercedes somehow, some way gets his way onto the podium.
Yeah, mega drive from Grayson. Well done to him.
Carter Hayne to the line will come home in P7. Rob Rogerio, not too far back, will be in P8. Christian Rosa will bring it home in 10th. 5 cars retired here in 31 laps complete over the past 65 minutes. We're going to get some drivers in here in just a moment, but do not go anywhere. Your champion, your podium finishers, and the showrunner coming up here on the North American Sim Racing Series. as we are joined now by your podium, as it is starting off here with Grayson Head, the man who had seemingly everything thrown at him over the past 65 minutes. Grayson, it was rough out there. There was some morally ambiguous wheel. Walk me through your battles with Davin and company.
I'm just glad that I wound up behind him so I didn't have to think about strategy at all. I just got behind him, we got through all the people that were slow at the start, and I was just like, alright, I'm going to pit when he pits. And that worked out very well. Very few brain cells needed to be activated, so I was able to focus on just sticking behind him and trying to find an opportunity.
Both Dakota and Davin getting by you, but both of them having penalties tacked on. What was the mentality there in the final 10 minutes?
Definitely the last couple laps, I was just trying to get past Davin, and then the last lap, I was getting caught up by, I think, Botello or somebody, and I was just totally like, alright, I'm gonna stop fighting Davin, because I don't want to get passed by him, so.
A really, really phenomenal drive for you, Grayson, ending off the season on a podium. Any shout-outs here before we say adieu for the season?
Nope, it's been fun.
Great drive, Grayson. We will see you next week. Thank you. Or, well, no, not next week. We'll hopefully see you next season, but thank you so much. Grayson Head, your third place finisher, as we welcome in our P2 finisher and runner-up in the championship, Michael Landry. Michael, obviously not the way you wanted your day to end there. Let's start with this. That incident out of Luffield. Walk me through it.
That's the last turn. Yeah, on the exit, I just touched the grass a little bit, so just lost the rear and stalled. The motor was stalled, so I have to restart it back, put in reverse, right? So I'll just lose a bunch of time. So after that was just trying to keep the car on the track, on the dry tire, and getting the small rain that we got at the end. Also did another mistake at the start. I started on second gear instead of first.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and nothing I can do. Joel was just too fast for. I couldn't follow him.
Did it feel like you had any fighting chance after that incident, or what was the pace just too taken aback? I don't know if there was front end damage. It looked like that might have been a possibility after he made contact with the inside wall, but was there any issues in the back half of the race?
No, I didn't get any damage on that incident, so got lucky there. Joel made a small mistake before, so I was P1 at the moment, and he was catching back me, so I could have tried to defend, but I don't know how long I could have hold him.
Your takeaways here from a roller coaster season 24.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It was still a great season. Still have one win, got some P2. Good overall.
I'll say this. You gave me and everyone here a really, really great storyline to the very end, and really was able to be the other side of this dialogue. So thank you so much for sticking with us, Michael, and a great season from you, as you put in your own words here. But any shout outs here before we say goodbye to season 24?
Yeah, everyone that's participated here to make this possible. Congrats to Joel on the championship this season, and thanks to you for doing this.
Thanks so much, Michael. Your runner-up here, Michael Landry. And now it is the man of the hour, the man of the season, race winner, season 24 champion, Joel Klaus. Let's get the big one out of the way. Season 24 champion. How's that sound?
Sounds good, man. You know what? My girlfriend always makes fun of me when I lose to Michael, so this season she can't have that. So I have that to show for it.
Let's talk about the race. You obviously had the early lead. You had a little bit of a bobble of your own, and you get past Michael on your on race pace alone. What was that early duel like with Landry?
I'm fortunate that he messed up the start and I was able to take the position pretty easily. Him starting in second gear, but it was an interesting race because I think he had the pace over me in the dry, and it showed in the qualifying. He got 2/10 on me, but I think in the wet I was just a little faster, a little more comfortable. So fortunately, when we were fighting there, it was in the wet, and I was just able to put a lot of pressure on him. And unfortunately for him, he had that big mistake that cost him pretty much the race. That was a ton of time he lost.
Overall, I mean, relatively quiet back half of the race, but clearly strategy was good on your end. Obviously, we're watching a little bit of issues with lap traffic here on the replay on our screen right now as you're trying to get through one of the Ferraris, but walk me through the back half. Pretty uneventful?
Yeah, for the most part, I guess. Just trying to not get too cocky, not to take too much time with it. I knew I had a huge lead and didn't want to blow it. So just trying to keep my ego under control, I guess.
Really, really phenomenal drive. Phenomenal season from you, Joel. Any shout outs?
Yeah, I got a few. Shout out first to Michael and Yours, my two teammates who they pushed me all the way this season for sure. And every time I'm racing against them, I learn a lot and always improve. And I want to shout out to Davin, for putting all this together. Nobody could do it without him, and all the time he puts into this. It's massive for all of us. So really appreciate him and the stewards, Greg, Ryan, and Dave. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone. All the stewards are awesome, and of course yourself, Jackson. These broadcasts are awesome, man. And
that's enough from
you.
Really, really appreciate it, Joel. Hope to see you back next season. And again, phenomenal season. That's Joel Klaus, your race winner and championship winner. Gonna try and get at least one more interview from the field here before we close the book on season 24. Stay with us. Hey, North American Sim Racing Series showrunner and where did we sort out at the end there, Davin? P5? P5 finisher, Davin Sturdivant, the unmovable object that was hit with a lot of freaking unstoppable forces at the end there. Do you just have the keybind to turn your rear view off set permanently, or what is the strategy when you've got 9 different cars breathing down your neck?
I mean, it's all car placement. We talk about that all the time, right? When you're the lead car, you get to set the pace and also place where your car goes. And if you don't have overlap on me before we turn, I can position you to where you're weak. So I just did that a lot and then tried not to get run into because some people want to just dive to me when I'm turning. But whatever. It's just a car positioning and timing thing, and you just manage the timing until cars get close together. So it happens to me all the time. So I just got really good at it.
Battles with Dakota and Grayson. Obviously not the way you wanted those to end. A little bit extra curious about I'm sorry, I in a world of ethical wheel chat, we had some morally ambiguous wheel going through Village there. Yeah. But your side of the Grayson head contact there going through Village.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that was me. He got a run on me coming down to Abbey, and I was a little bit of slow going into 13, and I just didn't get the accuracy on the braking right when I came up. And so when I got on the brakes, I was like, God damn it, I'm going to go straight. Right. And so I couldn't really not hit him because it was my fault. So getting a penalty on it didn't really make me mad. He got a run and he had momentum on both sides and he was cleared on me on the outside. So it's but I'm not going to just stand on the brakes and completely 100% check up and get passed by 2 cars. So I was I'd rather just take the 5 second and just see what happens because there's enough laps left. He could get murdered or something. And then I pull ahead by 5 seconds and get away with it. So it's fine. Not my favorite move in the whole world, but it definitely was on purpose. It was just as soon as I put my foot in the pedal, I felt the ABS go on, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm not stopping."
Right.
So, yeah.
Let's end with this then. Your closing thoughts on season 24. Pretty consistently north of 20 cars on the grid. A fantastic championship battle that came down to the final race. Your thoughts?
Yep. Well, I mean, I really appreciate the consistency of people showing up, right? It's especially now in the era of like what sim did we play today sort of thing. I really appreciate that folks are showing up, and I do appreciate that most of the racing has been pretty clean and folks have been pretty reasonable. Like even reading through a lot of the shooting sheets all year, like it's been like silly little bumps and bangs, but nothing really crazy. So that's been great. So it's been fun to race every week. It hasn't been this like dreading thing where you're not looking to have fun. So I appreciate folks still showing up. Any
shout outs here before I kick you out?
Not really. I mean, I had a fun time. So, yep.
Okay, cool. Get out of here. Davin Sturdivant, the showrunner, starting to close the book on this stream and on season 24. Nitin, before we wrap up, your thoughts on a very, very eventful, what I would argue, a classic here to end off season 24.
I mean, Silverstone just delivers. It doesn't seem to matter what category. You just get good racing in this track. So yeah, I mean, fantastic. Just some of the battling that we saw through the middle and all the way to the end. Just such good wheel to wheel. It really shows that people around here sort of trust each other and are willing to sort of really go side by side, really, race hard. And that's what this league is all about. So great to see.
And with that, I mean, you put it genuinely, I don't think there's a better way you could have put it, but a phenomenal way to end a phenomenal season. And again, it's hard for me to say that we're closing the book on things because, again, guys are going to stay in the server. We're going to be doing off-season races. It won't be streamed, obviously. And then we'll be back in just a couple of weeks' time, in about a month and a half, to get things started for season 25. Until then, we thank all of you for sticking around in a spotty stream schedule. Again, it came in last minute, but I thank all of you for coming out whenever I did set this up. And of course, a huge thanks to you, Nitin, to everybody from the stewarding staff and anyone that was available to jump in and share their thoughts with me in the booth. But again, huge thanks to everybody for watching. We hope you enjoy viewing as much as me and everybody else enjoy producing it. For everyone at the North American Sim Racing Series, I'm Jackson Lambros saying thank you so much for watching. We'll see you down the road.